Alright, what is up you guys? Welcome back to Fare Thee Well. This is episode 7. I don't know how much longer this story is, but we're making very good progress, and we're gonna see what's coming up. We're in the year 2002 now, 35 years after the beginning part of the game. And, I guess story, not game. But nonetheless, there's the girl in the violet dress now singing on the stage. We have Michael and Candace, our wonderful employees here at the bar. We are currently telling Michael that he really needs to go buy her a drink and get talking with that purple dress girl that's sung on the stage, and let's see what's gonna happen. Mike, that's the end of the set. Get over there and ask her to join us. Candace, are you sure that's a good idea? Of course it is. All my ideas are good ideas. If it were anyone else, I'd disagree. Come on, Michael, get out there. Michael closes his eyes, tenses his body, and hesitantly walks towards the stage. This ought to be good. We should be able to hear them from here. Well, you should be able to hear them from here. Senses of a darn hawk, I tell you. You flatter me. As Rosa finishes the final verse of her set, the dwindling crowd offers a surprising applause. After the applause dies down, Michael approaches the stage with an ounce of reluctance. Rosa, who is gathering her things, notices him and welcomes him with a greeting, catching him somewhat off guard. Candace was right. I can hear them, though just barely. Oh, hello there. You work here, right? Hello. Yes, I work here. The classic awkward Michael charm is second to none. Well, my name's Rosa. What about you? Oh, me? I'm Michael. Rosa tucks her hair behind her ear. It's nice to meet you, Michael. Yeah, you too. Rosa waves and begins to walk away. Wait, excuse me, Rosa? Rosa turns back to face Michael. Yes? What is it? I was wondering if you're not too busy, if you'd like to join my friends and I for a drink. Well, I haven't got any plans, so count me in. Michael is clearly surprised that the answer came out as easily as it did. Really? Rosa stifles a giggle and smiles. I haven't got any other plans, and I'm sure you and your friends will be fun. Michael's face lights up with joy. In that case, we're sitting right over there. What are they saying? Quiet, they're coming. This is fun. I'm having fun with this. This is a good time. Oh, Michael is laying down the moves, I see. You're having too much fun with this. Candace lets a carefree laugh out. I'm not having enough fun. Okay, the voices are gonna get so complex here. Hey guys, this is Rosa. After some quick introductions, Candace makes everyone drinks. These are on the house. We all cheer for Candace's hospitality together. Thank you, Candace. That's too kind of you. I listen in as the other three around the table share their stories, occasionally pitching in my own experiences. Michael and Rosa are fast friends, and by the end of the first hour, the pair get along as if they'd known each other all their lives. The bar's patrons dwindle until we are the only people left in the building, but even after everyone else is gone, we stay sharing stories of loss and hope, of dreams and regrets. So is Emmeline dead? That's what I've been wondering. Rosa begins to tell her story, and her eyes light up with childlike happiness. When I was younger, all I ever wanted to do was go to school and study music. It has always been my passion. So I worked at it from time to time. From the time I first saw a future in it, until I had realized it's a dream. But the light in her eyes faded into a quiet sadness. When I finally made it to music school, it just didn't feel right. I had worked so hard for so long, year after year, but the accumulation of my entire childhood led me to disappointment. But I was still determined. Never mind that I couldn't seem to make any friends or do well in classes, music was still my passion, so everything else be darned. Rosa wipes a tear from her cheek. From all my effort and determination, halfway through my first year, I dropped out. I hit rock bottom. I hated myself for quitting, but I never saw an alternative. I wasn't happy, and I'm sure as heck not happy now. But I'm better than I was, so I can say with certainty that I don't regret making that decision. What I'm unsure about is where I'm going now. All I have is my music and the will to keep moving forward. So since leaving school, I've been traveling wherever the music takes me. I hope that it can one day lead me to true happiness. I guess for now, I'm just along for the ride. Candace raises her glass. Well, I'll drink to that. Rosa nods gratefully to Candace and turns to Michael. I guess I could say I understand some of those feelings. I finished school, but it hasn't really done me much good. As soon as I graduated, I came right back home to Cedar. And I didn't just come back for my mother. Of course, I had to, given her health these days, but even if she were in good health, I know I'd still be back here. I kind of feel like I'm in some kind of void, stuck between childhood and true adulthood. Something is holding me back, but I don't know what it is. And I can't for the life of me figure out why. The idea that Michael was drawn back to Cedar makes me chuckle. So, Emmeline is sick and elderly-ish, I guess, but not passed away. In my experience, getting away from Cedar is one heck of a task. Not that Cedar is a bad place, mind you, it just has this pull, for lack of a better word. Candace nods in agreement. Cedar's always been good to me and mine. Me and mine? Candace waves a hand over her shoulder, motioning to the empty hearth and home. This old girl's been in the family for 4 generations now. My father, my granddad, and great-granddad all put their lives into this place, and I'll be darned if I don't do the same. But this life isn't for everyone. Maybe you just need to broaden your horizons, see more of what's out there. Michael considers this for a moment. Maybe, but I haven't really felt like my life ever needed to start somewhere else. Then what are you missing, Mike? Michael slumps in defeat. I honestly don't know. Out of the 3 of them, I can relate most to Rosa. She seems to feel like there isn't a place where she belongs. Even so, I can sympathize with Michael and Candace. But unlike myself or Rosa, Candace is very deeply rooted here in Cedar. Though I've grown to consider her a close friend, we're about as different can get. Michael reminds me of Emmeline, which of course comes as no surprise. He takes his life in Cedar, but he's mindful of his future and where it might take him. I look up from my empty glass, which I had been absent-mindedly been turning over in my hand, and catch Rosa's eye. She curiously meets my gaze. So, how about you? Do you have any grand dreams or aspirations? Any miserable failures that landed you where you are now? Yeah, quite a few more than I can count at this point. She narrows her eyes in suspicion. Clearly, I've piqued her interest. Peaked? Or is it peaked or is it piked? I don't know. I used to be a lot like you, looking for somewhere I could belong, going wherever the road took me. There's nothing wrong with that. It's no shame in it whatsoever. But, it takes time to discover who you are, and to... Why did I click? And to find something out. So, what advice can you give? Advice? I hardly think I'm qualified to be giving advice to anyone. I'm not concerned with qualifications, I just want to hear what a similar mind has to tell me. In that case, the best thing I can offer you is this. The belonging that you're searching for, you may never find it. Were circumstances different, I might still be searching for it. What you can do that will make all the difference is really quite simple. Life is going to go on regardless of what you do. Don't just let it happen. Take charge of your own life. Even though you may not find what you search for, it will make that search easier. I've always had trouble putting this into words. Yeah, me too. It's been in the back of my mind for as long as I can remember, but words always seem to fail me. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you aren't going to find what you're looking for if you are so caught up in your search that you can't see what's in front of you. Rosa sits back in her chair, looking rather confused. I'm sorry if that doesn't make sense. I'm not the best at speaking my thoughts. She shakes her head. No, I think I understand. Candace laughs her usual laugh. Ha! I have no idea what you just said, but I know you're probably right. Anyhow, it looks like we could all use another round. I'll be right back. As Candace goes to retrieve our drinks, my thoughts wander to Emmeline, as they so often do. Tell me, Michael, how is Emmeline doing these days? What was that? Hours pass, and it's clear that we've all reached our limit. The clock behind the bar reads 3:36. My goodness, I hadn't realized how late. Well, early it's gotten. I really should be going. Rosa stands and puts on her coat. Thank you all for a wonderful evening. I'm truly grateful. Rosa, would you mind if I walked you back to your motel? Candace sneaks a wink and a thumbs up in my direction. I can't help but grin. Well, okay, that's very nice of you to offer. As the two prepare to leave, Candace begins to clean up while I lean back in my chair and stretch my tired bones. Hey, Rosa, could you just wait by the door? I'll be there in a minute. Sure. Michael, now standing in front of me alone, turns to me. I just wanted to thank you. Tonight has been one of the most memorable nights of my life, and it's all thanks to your encouragement. There's no need to thank me. We all had a good time. I think it's time I left Cedar. I've spent more time in this town than I intend to. It's the first time I ever came back somewhere. But now it's time to move on. Life will go on here just as it always has. My journey is far from finished. This place has taught me a lot, and I'd like to think I've given something back. Though no other place will quite fill the gap Cedar will doubtlessly leave in my life, I choose to make Cedar a part of me, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. Maybe I don't need to thank you, but let me anyway. You've always been a good friend to me. Let me do the same for you. Michael extends his hand to me, and I take it in mine. We exchange a handshake, meaningful to each of us in different ways. Thank you. Goodbye, Michael. I take a long look around the cozy bar I've become so familiar with. I see the tables and the booths where Candace's loyal patrons gather after a long day's work. I see the bar where I first met Candace and the father before her. I see the stage where I first saw Emmeline all those years ago. The stage that... I didn't know that you could scroll and it goes backwards. The same stage that Rosa just performed on a few hours ago. I close my eyes and breathe in the familiar sense of pine, fire, and alcohol. Was it fur or fire? No, it was fire. I will surely miss Cedar. I'll miss the hearth and home. I'll miss Candace, Michael, and now Rosa. I'll miss Emmeline. I'll miss them all, but I will never forget them. I stand and walk over to the coat rack, which sits beside the door, my coat now hanging alone. After putting my coat on... there's a bug. After putting my coat on, I start out the door, but am quickly halted by the length of a broomstick being thrust in front of me. I know what you're about to do. I never expected you'd stay forever. About 2 hours ago, I figured this would be your last night in Cedar. Candace looks very serious when compared to her normal, more gleeful demeanor. Whoops. Now, after seeing you just a moment ago, I'm certain. It's just time I moved on, Candace. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to stop you. What is it, then? She cracks a slight smile, but gives nothing away. Before you go, there's something you need to see. Well, what is it? Come with me. Candace takes me by the arm and leads me behind the bar through a door and down a flight of stairs into a wine cellar. She reaches an empty section of wine rack and produces a large sealed envelope. What is going on? There's a chair over there. Take as much time as you need. She hands the envelope and walks over to the door. Candace turns back to me. She looks sad for a brief moment, but then smiles again. It's been fun. Thank you. Without a word, she turns once more, closing the door behind her. I sit down in Candace's chair and look over the envelope in my hands. I run my hand across the smooth surface, wondering what this is. Carefully, I tear open the envelope at its seal. Inside are 3 smaller envelopes, each marked with a date, 1967, 1987, and 2002. I start with the envelope labeled 1967. Inside is a letter handwritten. The handwriting is excellent and unmistakably feminine. Hello, stranger. 2 nights ago, you swooped into my life. You shared with me the best night of my life. And then you were gone, with more mystery than your arrival. For a few oh my goodness, this is emotional. For the few hours we spent together, all seemed to be right in the world. All my cares had gone away. How long has this recording been? Am I capped out? Okay, we're getting close. We're getting close to having done this episode. For the few hours we spent together, all seemed right in the world. All my cares had gone away. It was truly blissful. And then you left so suddenly, so abruptly, you never even said goodbye. The magic dissipated instantly. My bliss shattered, leaving only pain and confusion. That night we shared. Why did we share it? Why did you come into my life, if only to leave hours later? Please don't misunderstand me, dear stranger. I'm not angry. I held nothing against you. I only wish I could understand why that night happened. I was sure that we were both so happy, but when you left, I began to have doubts. Can I talk about something really quick? So a lot of this series has been just like reading the story and whatnot, not a lot of my own input, but I want to throw in my own input in here real quick. Um, Real life wise, obviously no one is staying the same age and just living on forever and seeing all these people die around them and just moving from place to place like our main character here. But this does have a lot of relatability and lessons to learn from this. Don't spend all your time dwelling on what's going to happen in the future and worrying about if someone dies or if they leave you, anything like that, because that just gets in the way of the time you currently do have with that person or with yourself in life. Like our main character was saying earlier to Rosa, don't let all the worry and stuff about the future get in the way of the present and now. Like with this letter right here, you can see that Emmeline is very confused and kind of heartbroken by our main character leaving all of a sudden, when to him, he was leaving because he wanted to avoid heartbreak later on, when realistically he was breaking her heart leaving right then and there. So it's something to really take note of and really learn a lesson by, that you need to not dwell so much on the future and worry when that's just going to get in the way of all the time that we do have in our life currently. Anyways, let's keep going with this and see what's happening. That night we shared, why did you share it? Why did you come into my... I was sure that we were both so happy, but when you left I began to have doubts, yeah. Had I done something wrong? Were you not happy as I thought you'd be? Of course, thinking back at it now, it all... It was one night, nothing gained and nothing lost. I'm sure you had your reasons for leaving. I'm glad it happened. I will always remember it. However, dear stranger, should I ever see you again, though it seems doubtful, please help me understand what that night meant. I have an aching desire to know. To be honest, I'm not sure that you will ever read this letter, but I take comfort in knowing that it will not matter if you read it or not. This letter doesn't really mean anything. All I have written here is just the result of one impossible yet undeniable experience, the ramblings of a young woman. My dear stranger, I wrote all of this to ask for an explanation, but it is now clear that I will never receive one. You don't owe it to me, so please don't feel as though you do. I'm happy enough to keep the memories of that night precious without anything more. So, my stranger, although you never said it yourself, I will say it now. Goodbye, stranger. Emmeline. Took me a few minutes, but eventually I was able to reach for the second letter, dated 1987. Alright, we're going to end it here before we read the next letter and the one after that and see what happens and everything like that. We're going to end it here because my recording's capped out for this episode, really. I hope you guys enjoyed. I just recorded 3 episodes of this all in one day, like within however long of each other. I'm not going to record the next episode today, as I've spent a long time now recording the past 3. So we will leave off eventually. Just let me know what you're thinking of the series. I think we're getting close to the end here. It's deep. It's really deep. There's lessons to be learned from it. I hope you guys are enjoying, and I also hope that you have a swell day.